The rigging leads back to one man and one thing: the elephant in the room, former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan. Since 2022, he has faced relentless prosecution. Over 200 legal cases he's been charged with. From cases like the Ibid case, which is a ridiculous illegal marriage case, to murder charges, to one that him and his wife, Bushra Imran Khan, have been charged for, the Al-Qadr case. The Al-Qadr case was 190 million pounds, which was a personal settlement between a property developer and the NCA, National Crime Agency of the UK, which then got deposited into the Supreme Court of Pakistan. Nothing to do with our government, nothing to do with Imran Khan. The money was deposited directly there, earning interest. That same property developer developed a university in a trust, which Imran Khan and his wife were trustees of. All have agreed that there's been no financial benefit. In fact, 200 plus students have studied for free. This is the first time in a country where a husband and wife have been imprisoned for giving university level education for free to 200 odd children. Abduction, breaking into homes, trashing of their personal property, abduction of children, torture, using women as a tool to get the politicians and the men out to surrender themselves is the first time we've seen this in Pakistani history. On November 26th, more known as the Islamabad massacre, Pakistani people took to the streets to protest peacefully. In exchange, they were met with an iron fist. 12 people were killed. Even a dear colleague of mine, Mohammed Idris, who was my worker and friend, was shot in the stomach and died. The government claimed no casualty figure in Pakistani history and remains the most popular leader of a political party till date. I want to just briefly, before I conclude, add that Imran Khan and his wife are in solitary conditions. Bugs and insects are deliberately released into their cell, which is not even a cell of what one should get. They're abused. They aren't given fresh water, substandard food in 50 degrees temperature. They say that they have some form of cooling, but what they do is they cut off the electricity. Intimidation in front of his wife is done by a supervisor beating up a subordinate in front of her to intimidate her. This is all being done so Imran Khan can see his wife in mental torture and then try to break his will. This is unfortunately not going to happen. Imran Khan, his colleagues that are in prison, from our two-time former Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi to our 70-year-old Health Minister Yasmin Rashid, are all facing arbitrary detention for years now. I call upon all the esteemed members here today. The choice is clear. We either let it slide into further dictatorship under the cover of law, or we stand with the people who yearn for democracy, dignity, and justice. Lastly, I just say the people of Pakistan deserve to choose their leaders fairly, to speak without fear, to live under laws that protect them, not persecute them. I thank you for your time. I urge you to stand with 250 million people of Pakistan and look away from the few hand-picked few. Thank you very much.
Honorable Congress with the executive branch should set up a judgment right now. So thank you so very much for that. Mr. Gates.
Thanks so much, Commissioner Smith. Crisis unfolding in Pakistan. I speak today as international counsel to former Prime Minister Imran Khan, whose case exemplifies the alarming erosion of democratic institutions, rule of law, and civil liberties under Pakistan's current regime. My testimony will first talk about the broader situation marked by repression, censorship, and arbitrary detentions. I'll speak briefly about the plight of Mr. Khan, specifically, before concluding with recommendations for Congress, the Trump administration, and broader international community. And I'll also seek to not repeat the really important points that were made by my colleague Zulfi Bukhari as well. Since Imran Khan was removed from power in April 2022, Pakistan's human rights landscape has deteriorated markedly as the military-backed authorities use a range of repressive measures to consolidate power and suppress dissent. There were more than 4,000 arrests made following protests that were sparked by Khan's detention. As Mr. Bukhari noted, 104 slaves were convicted by military courts, 85 of them still behind bars, and these prisoners were all given from 2 to 10 years in prison. Estimates vary overall, but there are likely more than about 1,100 political prisoners behind bars in Pakistan, while about 8,000 others remain under indictment or are out on bail, awaiting trials to be held. Equally troubling, Pakistan's information landscape has been engineered to elect and keep in power with the current regime, and its prime minister, led by its prime minister Shehbaz Sharif. The general election was supposed to happen in August of 2023, but was held illegally late under the Constitution. I won't speak more about that because we've already covered it. But the US, EU, and UK expressed serious concerns about election irregularities and called for investigation. In addition, press freedom has been totally and completely eviscerated. The Committee to Protect Journalists has condemned blocks on several websites and the throttling of access to the internet. Broadcasters have been banned from mentioning Khan or the PTI. In beginning April 2022, the media regulator PEMRA issued various directives outlawing Imran Khan from appearing on the air and even past speeches, culminating in the order that branded his speeches all as, quote, hate speech. Over the last week, as was mentioned already, Google was ordered to remove, and did in fact remove, the YouTube channels of 27 government critics, including journalists, and Imran Khan and PTI supporters, at the demand of the National Cybercrime Investigation Agency for, quote, sharing highly intimidating, provocative, and derogatory contents against state institutions. In essence, they've just admitted publicly that it is because of their speech. Now the Pakistani regime is going further, and they're demanding that if Google wants to remain in business in Pakistan, that they need to block access to these websites, not just in Pakistan, where they're violating international law by banning what is obviously protected speech, but they want those sites to be banned locally. So, for example, the journalist here in the room today from Pakistan who was forced to flee the country because of persecution, the regime is now trying to stop him from broadcasting from the United States or for people around the world hearing what he has to say. I think it's going to be very important for the Congress, in light of the fact that Google is an American company, to send a very clear message to Google that this should not be tolerated and they should not bend or break to the pressure from the Pakistani regime. In this context, the case of former Prime Minister Imran Khan demonstrates the collapse of democratic norms in Pakistan. As noted, he's faced more than 200 cases. He remains behind bars today, held in solitary confinement, and already faced on his behalf, concluded there was, quote, no legal basis, and appears that the charges appears to have been intended to disqualify him from running for political office. In short, his detention is declared as illegal and in violation of international law, and called for his immediate release. We have strong support on Capitol Hill, and we're very grateful for it, for freedom, democracy, and human rights in Pakistan. As was noted earlier by Co-Chair Smith, Congressman Wilson, and Congressman Panetta introduced the bipartisan Pakistan Democracy Act, authorizing targeted sanctions on officials implicated in gross human rights abuses. Another bipartisan group of 59 members wrote to President Trump in May of this year that the 2024 elections in February were riddled with voter-gain repression, and highlighted the ongoing imprisonment of Imran Khan, and urged the administration. Obviously, Mr. Khan's persecution is inextricably linked to the broader repression facing the people of Pakistan. If a former prime minister can be treated in this manner, as Co-Chair McGovern pointed out, ordinary citizens and activists have little hope. In closing, Pakistan is a nation of 240 million people. Its success matters enormously, not only for all of them, but to ensure that core democratic principles are respected and regional stability is preserved. Today, however, the country has trampled on the rule of law, silenced the press, imprisoned its political opponents to secure an iron grip on power. While Imran Khan's case is the highest profile example, there are tens of thousands of other cases that are just as important and just as egregious in terms of the rights abuses. The U.S. and the international community does not look away. There's much that can be done to help, and indeed holding this hearing itself is a critical step forward. First, I recommend that Congress remain engaged and reach out to Pakistan's Prime Minister to demand the immediate release of all political prisoners, and the freedom of the press, the rule of law, and democracy be restored to Pakistan. In addition, the Congress should urge President Trump and Secretary Rubio to make these top goals of the Trump administration. I also believe, and I speak about this personally, that the Congressman Wilson bill should also be advanced to the Congress as rapidly as possible. And of course, Google should be told in no uncertain terms that if it blocks access to YouTube channels globally that are related to people that are simply standing up for democracy and human rights in Pakistan, that will be seen as a serious concern for the United States government and for the U.S. Congress. Second, I ask President Trump and Secretary Rubio both personally to take up the situation in Pakistan Well, undoubtedly,